We do this every Wednesday. It's a free session, 45-minute session. And the whole point of this is to help business professionals and coaches develop NLP skills. So can I just check, put your hand up if you've done any NLP training. You've done any NLP? So most of us have done NLP training, that's fine. Doesn't matter whether you've done NLP training or not, because this is all aimed at, I've been working with neuro-linguistic programming for over 30 years, specifically for business and coaching. Now, NLP, according to me, there's lots of different definitions. It's the methodology of how we create behavior. And when we're creating behavior, I always like to say to people, NLP is not a thing. You can't go to www.neurolinguisticprogramming.com and buy 2 litres or 5 kilos of NLP. The behaviour was there. The behaviour was there long before Bandler and Grinder came along and gave this title of NLP. NLP is a set of skills that allow you to understand behaviour. And when you're able to understand behaviour, you can help people become more resourceful if they're not very resourceful in what they're doing, or you can help them become aware of something they're doing, become consciously aware of something they're doing really well. Okay, we just take about 15 minutes for me to go through something. We're working on values today. Next week, we're going to be working on how expectations shape our reality. We choose a different subject every week and we meet at this time. Then after I've done my talk on values, we'll put you into breakout rooms, just really to say hello and get to know each other. There's got quite a few people come here regularly. And then I'll tell you a little bit. I've got an offer tonight on how to use the NLP Meta Model Business, which is my online training course. It's an online self-learning course. There was a 75% discount. I'm giving another 50% tonight. So instead of $399, it's $49.50. So that particular offer is just for tonight. Okay, so let me just share the screen. Values in action. The values are basically the driving force behind our success. So values are basic fundamental beliefs that guide or motivate our actions. When I'm talking about values, I always like to say values are bigger than you. If you're doing something going, even if your mum's no longer of this plane, if you suddenly go, oh, my mum wouldn't have liked me to do that, that's going against family values. So values always have other people involved. And it's how can we put it? It's how you measure yourself measure your behavior against a criteria that tends to be common in a group of people, whatever group that is. They signal what is important to us. Values describe the personal qualities we choose to embody to guide our actions, the sort of person we want to be, how we treat ourselves and others, and how we interact with the world around us. What have values got to do with neuro-linguistic programming and coaching? When I'm working with my clients, my coaching clients, I do corporate training and I also do NLP certificated training. I train business coaches, NLP coaches, and I work with my coaching clients. Very often when you're helping clients, for example, set up a business or look to be promoted within an organization, it's so helpful to get them to start mentioning their values, start to really become aware of their values, but more importantly, to write down how they are behaving within these values and how they expect other people to behave to them. So for example, if I'm working with a leader and that leader's values got quite a high value of respect, I'll be asked that person, so how are you respecting other people? How are you respecting the people you're working with? Because if that's your value and you're wanting people to show you respect, you've got to be able to show that same behavior to them. And this is a fantastic exercise to do. I'll just show you some of the values we work with, but getting someone to sit down and write down their top 5 values, and then bring it down to maybe the top 3 and really get them to write down, so how are you displaying these values? How are you acting out these values? How is your behavior fitting these values in the things that you're doing. And remember, my speciality is business and coaching. So I will be saying in the business world, as a coach, how are you behaving as a coach? This is also really interesting when we go to, we're working with interviews, because I've worked with many clients who've been going for interviews. And when we do the values exercise, I will get them to identify the top 5 values that you're looking for in the type of work you're doing. And this gives them an additional benchmark to really measure against when they're at the interview. Because when you're being interviewed, it's not about you. It's not just you being submissive to the interview. It's you being able to ask questions and decide. It's not the person interviewing deciding whether you get the job. It's you also deciding whether the job fits for you or not. Now, we know not everyone's in that position. Sometimes I've taken many a job because I needed to take it and I had to take it. That's okay. But especially when you're coaching leaders and you're coaching leaders to go into senior positions, to really put in place what values are the absolute non-negotiable values. Because if someone takes a job that has a mismatch with their values, excuse me a moment, there'll be a problem. There'll be a problem at some point. Your values impact on everything you do. Think about the jobs you may have left or are unhappy in, the people you socialise with who make you feel uncomfortable or angry, the people you work with that make you miserable, or the company you love working for or love working with, the relationship that just seems natural and right, and the people that energize and motivate you. What have all these things got in common? The first examples are when you're with people who don't match your values. The second example are when you're with people who do match your values. When you're surrounded by people who match your values, you get energized. It's as simple as that. You get energized, you get encouraged, you get motivated, and you get appreciated. When you've got people mismatching your values, it absolutely drains the living energy out of you. And it becomes really difficult to do your best. It's almost doing that. It's like hitting a brick wall. In a lot of companies, lots of companies have this mission statement and values up there, and it's a load of rubbish because someone has just sat down and written that out at some point. I work with organizations, sometimes with the board, where we'll really look at values. We'll really look at how values work for people and how these values fit with the company and how they do. So we'll look at common values between a group of people. But I'll explain a way we do that in a moment. Personal values, different types of values. Personal values are personal beliefs about what's right and wrong, or what may or may not be considered normal. Family values are passed down through generations and shape who we are from a very early age. Cultural values are values accepted by religions or societies and reflect what is important to each context. Religious values are the rules that govern your faith. Company values are the standards that guide the way you do business. They sum up what your business stands for, influences the organisation culture, and drives how, and more importantly, why you're doing things. Because values give you a reason to do things. They give you a focus. Because if you're working towards your values, you're very often in line with working with your purpose as well. Who knows about Robert Dilt's neurological levels? Put your hand up if you know about neurological levels. Neurological levels, we start at the bottom with environment, and then you work up and you work through values and beliefs, and then identity, and then purpose. So your values are driving your identity. How we're coming across as others is driven by our values. And then from that identity, that can drive your purpose. That will take you, that will show you what you, and when you're working with your purpose, you're almost like you're plugged into this incredible energy source. So here are some examples of values. I'm not going to write these down. Sorry, I'm not going to read all these out, but I just want you to have a look at these. If you've got a piece of paper, I would like you just to write down your top 5 values. Just quickly write down your top 5 values. And just put a wee thumbs up when you're finished. You can pick from these, or there may be other ones there. There may be other ones that fit with you. Okay, so has everyone got their 5? Okay, that's fantastic. So this, I just want to show you what I do with my clients. I'll give you my ones. I've got fun, learning, kindness, security, and achievement. I would say, okay, so fun, you take the top one. This is like doing your values with a hierarchy. Fun, is fun or learning higher for me? And I go, oh, well, hang out, learning's actually higher. I would put just a little stroke beside it, because we're gonna do that with everyone. So is fun or kindness higher? Actually, kindness. And all I've done is I just randomly picked 5 here. And this, I'm getting to test it for myself, which is quite interesting. So is fun or security higher? Security. Fun or achievement higher? Fun. Okay. So I've got one tick beside fun, one tick beside learning, one tick beside kindness, one tick beside security, and one tick beside achievement. So do that for your own one. Just go down and you start with the top one, and then you're working down to get the hierarchy. And you'll see if your top one is the top one or not to start with. And then we're going to do it with the rest. Okay, so my next one's learning. So is learning higher than kindness? Actually, yes, it is. Is learning higher than security? Yep. Is learning higher than achievement? Yep. So straight away, I've now got 4 ticks beside learning. Okay. And then I'm going on to the next one. So you can do it at your own speed. So my next one is kindness. So is kindness higher than security? No, it's not. Is kindness higher than achievement? Yes. And then I go, is security higher than achievement? Yep. So actually, what I have found there, my highest is not fun at all. My highest value is learning. My second highest value is security. My third highest value is kindness. And then my 4th is fun, and my 5th is achievement. So actually, when I do my hierarchy with that, it puts it all in a different order. That's one of the ways I work with values with clients. And then I would say, once they have their order, once they get and if you do that with a team, or if you do it with a board of directors, you get everyone's hierarchy, you get everyone's values, and then you can start bringing and doing the same. Once you pull all the values together, you do the same. So you end up with the absolute values of the company that fit with the people that are in the company. So any questions with that? No. Okay. So let me just go on to the next part. And then the benefit of knowing your values, when you become clear about your own values, it becomes much easier to take these into consideration when making important decisions in your life. You create a benchmark or reference point that you can add as a consideration when making important life and career decisions. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I love to do this. If someone's going for a job interview, I like to help them really identify their values to just check if this is what they're wanting to do. And even before considering job offers, if someone's part of a succession planning in the company, we can look and see if the position that's being offered, is that fitting with your values? Because we do know that everyone gets promoted to their level of incompetence. It's called the Peter Principle. And really good leaders are able to go, no, that one's not for me. I worked with Xerox for a long time, and I worked out in the Middle East, and I was in sales. And then I came back to the UK, and eventually I went to work with Yellow Pages. And Yellow Pages wanted me, I took a sales job with Yellow Pages because there was I wanted a sales job. But Yellow Pages got a huge management development, and they kept saying, we're putting you on the next management company. And I said, I don't want a management job. I've been in management. I've got my own company at the side here. I'm eventually going to go and run that company. I stayed 8 years with Yellow Pages before I set up my own company. But there was no way. I wanted just to go in, do my job and get my salary and get my commission. I didn't want management. I knew the level I wanted to be at. So again, that was to do with my values. I worked that out with my values. And it allows you just to make really good decisions with what you're doing. So working in value, I like to do this. This is my value model. Is someone validated, appreciated, listened to, understood, and encouraged? Again, the number of times I will hear leaders say, I'll say, so how do you value your team? They know I value them. And I'll say, do you tell them? Yeah, but I don't need to tell them, they know. I said, when's the last time you said to someone, thank you, I really appreciate what you did there? Or sent them a note to say, I really value what it is, I value the contribution you're putting to this company. Or someone that says, okay, I really want to hear what you're saying. I understand. Because if you don't use these words back, in fact, I'll put this back. I'd like you to take a photograph of this if you've not already used it. Take a photograph of this and see how many times you can start using these words back to others, because you can put them in emails, you can use them conversationally, and it makes a huge difference for people to actually hear that they're being valued. Okay, so I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. Okay, so just get to know each other. Maybe talk about how you use values or something that you've learned tonight, and then we'll come back. We'll just get a little bit of feedback, and then I'll let you know about the offer I got. Okay, so there you go. See you in a wee minute. Okay, so how was that? Let's get some feedback. Could I get some feedback from you? That was great. You came with a real life scenario that we could work in. So do you want to feedback a little bit about what you were looking to use this for? Oliver? If you can feedback on that.
I pose a question in our room whereby I work in a company whereby we have a department in HR where there seems to be a whole lot of new persons that have joined the team. And at this point in time, they seem to be all on different alignments altogether in terms of what their values are. So it's not working like a well-oiled machine for that team. And so my ask of the team was that how do we bring it such that we get the people aligned to the goal of what they need to do for that department that ultimately makes that team or that factory more profitable and positive in their contribution towards the company at large. And some of the feedback that I had received as a starting point was to firstly set the expectation and the intention. That thereby allows us to then have people come into the team in an open forum, put down what they believe are their values holistically, and then we use it as a sifting method thereafter to find out what are the top 5 or the top 3 values that we need to work together as a collective team.
Okay, and when you've got everyone involved in a group meeting for values, it's all their input, because they can't go, that's not my values. It is, because you were part of the group that helped set these values. So I'm glad we were able to work on something for you. What about it? And thank you for that. From one of the other groups, let's get some more feedback. And the group you were in, what did you get? Either Anne's group or Colin's group?
Yeah, we were just talking about introductions because Fritz hasn't been to one of these before, and talking about NLP in business. And then Tom was just talking about how he notices that he gets on with some clients particularly well when they do seem to have the right values, and it'd be really nice to have some other clients with the same type of values.
Yeah, and that's an important one, because I do leadership development training, and I don't work with every company that asks to work with me. Because, and same, some of you are trained with me as NLP business coaches, you don't work with every client, because there'll be clients that don't have the same values as you. If I have a company that comes to me and says, can you sort them out, please? And they're very apart from that, I'm not interested. I want management, the senior management, to be interested in a full program that supports everyone, not just send someone from outside in to solve a problem, because that's not going to happen. The problem is, if there's a problem, the problem's inside. So I want to get the top people to find out what that problem is. Okay. Okay, so let me just share this with you. Thank you very much for that. The offer tonight, How to Use the NLP Meta Model in Business. It's a self-learning course. The Meta Model is the information gathering model of NLP. There's 13 on this course. There's 60 videos. The Meta Model has 11 language patterns. And this is the model that teaches you to craft the really incredible questions that get to the root of all situations. Normally, the price for this is it's normally $399. And we've got a 75% discount for $99. But tonight, if you use coupon code GUEST50, then you can get this for $49.99. And just hang on, I should have the link here. There you go. I've just put the link in the chat for you. So the link's there in the chat. I know most of you have trained in NLP. If you're interested in training in NLP, just email me at fiona@theprofessionalgrowthcompany.com. And I've set up a 45-minute discovery session with you to talk about the way we work with NLP in business. So let's get some more feedback. What are some of the things you're getting from this, just the NLP Edge in general? Those of you who come quite regularly. So if you want to share, what are some of the things you're getting from these sessions? Because we've got a wee bit extra time. So Viara, what are you getting from these sessions?
To me is a very good refresher in a way.
Yeah.
And so putting things together often comes in a reminder, as I was saying also to the girls in the room. So it's something that really has happened in actual time at work or in life. And then it's a reminder of how I had to deal with that, or what I had to do, or how I can deal with that following day.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. Okay? It's a mirroring in a way of a mirroring life.
Yeah.
And it's a great reminder of me. Okay, I had to do it, or I can do it that way.
Yeah. And
So thank you for that.
My pleasure. The thing about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, as I said before, it's the methodology of how we create behavior. There's a lot of myths around NLP. There's a lot of myths that it's very manipulative, that it's a cult, that it's only for sales. But actually, what's now happening, and I got some really interesting information just the other day, which I was quite amazed at. In Scotland, in Glasgow at the moment, there's a huge waiting list for teenagers with mental health problems to get on to NLP help. They're asking now for NLP help. So what we're seeing now is, because it's the methodology of how we create behavior, and we can get some really good results with people really quickly, we're starting to see, although it's been around since the 70s, we're starting to see this coming in much more in business. And there's whole projects now bringing this into schools. So it's helping you, what you do is helping you think about your thinking, and also to be able to use your thinking to control how you feel about yourself. Oliver, have you trained in NLP at all? You're not trained in NLP, no? So what brought you here tonight? I'm always curious for people that are not NLP trained that come on to this.
Philo, my wife, has actually been trained on NLP recently. And ever since she's come home, we have been talking a whole lot about and engaging and sharing.
Right.
So I found it very intriguing, like I expressed to the team in our breakout room. That sparked on a lot of the interest for me to get to understand better how I can do things better myself, and with the engagement and collaboration with my teams.
Okay, and this is what we're seeing. We're seeing this is getting used a lot in leadership. It's all about mindset, keeping a very focused mindset. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Arif, what do you get from NLP skills for yourself? What are some of the things that you find you get?
God, lots of things. Setting targets for staff, trying to reframe things for staff, those sort of things work quite well. Timelines, timelines a lot. Anchoring, so that's quite. I teach the anchoring so they can learn it, use it for themselves. Then they quite like that. You know,
and what do you mean by anchoring as such?
Say, for instance, they have a fear of exams, right? To put them in a good state.
Yeah.
And sometimes they would have been in a good state, just to recall that state by an anchor.
Yeah. So an anchor, Oliver, an anchor is just a trigger. So we get sometimes something will put us into a really bad mood. So what's triggered you into that bad mood? That's maybe an automatic anchor that's happened. Once you get to use NLP skills, we're able to trigger ourselves out of that. We're able to use something else to change our state, to change the chemicals in our body and change the way we come across. Because especially in business, thank you for that, Arif, especially in business, if a leader is walking about grumpy and angry, all they're doing is spreading that grumpiness and that anger throughout their team. Because we know that all behavior spreads. So if someone is in a good state, someone's in a motivated state, they're much more likely to have a motivated team. Now, we're not talking high row all the time, because that doesn't fit for everyone. That can be too much for people. But it's just keeping in that nice, knowing that you're in a state that is being resourceful. I like to call it resourceful states. A resourceful working state. And and again, that fits under values. So one of the values can be I'm always as professional as I can be. Now, if someone walks in and goes, "Oh, really late night last night. Oh, I can't be bothered to work today," they can collapse the whole room, whether they're online or whether they're actually face to face. Where if someone comes in, okay, I'm really tired, but I can't walk in, they're tired. So they get themselves in a state to come in. So if one of your values is to be really professional, take yourself into a professional state and always be a professional state when you're working. Okay. Any other statements, any other questions? I'll finish there. Some nights we go over a wee bit. Next week, as I said, it's how expectations shape our reality. We know from neuroscience that the brain is compelled to respond to everything you ask it. And what we find incredible, especially in business, is the number of meetings that get held with no expectations set. There's an agenda. An agenda is just a list of things. People don't actually say, by the end of this, we will have achieved that. And when you start shaping people's reality by the expectations you set, it's incredible what happens. Okay, give yourself a big round of applause. Thank you very much. Spread the word, let people know we're here every Wednesday. And I'm looking forward, we'll see a few of you, but I've got Gail and Viara will see you next week on the dual certificate training. And Jackie, you're on there as well. And see you next Wednesday if you can make it. And lovely to meet you, Oliver and Fritz. Thank you very much for coming along. Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm here if anyone wants to chat with anything.
Thank you.